Friends, today is Thursday, the 16th of July, and I'm back from a few days of vacation. Got a little sunshine and took a lot of pictures. I was visiting Arches and Canyonlands National Parks down in Utah. Had a wonderful time. A lot of driving, and when I'm out driving like that, distance, I always listen to books. And I listened to at least three this time, one of which was a John Grisham novel. I don't read anything heavy when it's vacation time. I have my summer books, and a lot of times it's action and crime and legal issues and so on and so forth. But I don't consider myself naive when it comes to issues of crime and violence and so on, but when I listen to these books, I oftentimes wonder if only a portion of it were true, we would really be in a pretty bad way here in this country and everywhere else. That constant battle for power and fame and fortune and pleasure and so on, and the rat race that we go through to achieve those things. In the midst of that, we have our gospel today from the Gospel of Matthew, in which Jesus says to us, "Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest." In other words, let go. Let go. Let go of that rat race, which is so adversely affecting us personally and our country as well. Let go. It's an invitation really to discipleship, to a personal relationship with Jesus. And he says to take my yoke upon you and learn from me. In other words, it's not as if we're just floating out into eternity or into the sky and free of everything, including our responsibilities. No. We take on the yoke of Christ. The yoke of Christ. But in contradictory fashion, which is so typical of the Gospels, in contradictory fashion where death brings life, here obedience to Jesus brings freedom. Freedom from that rat race in which we grasp at fame and power and fortune and pleasure. And let go. To put on, obedience means to put on the mind of Christ, to let go of everything else. And if we do, spiritual rest, peace now and into eternity. It's a wonderful message of consolation during these difficult times for us to let go, to trust, to take that yoke. And we recall, the images out of oxen with a yoke over their shoulders. The oxen next to each of us, if we can say this, is Jesus, who takes that burden from us, making our burden light. Today is the feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, who is associated closely with the Carmelites, and the Carmelites associated closely with the brown scapular. And I was thinking about that this morning as we put that yoke on. Isn't the scapular the same kind of thing? We put that onto our shoulders, front and back. The scapular is a reminder of course, the pious Christian life. And it comes from the monastic and other religious communities who wear a scapular. It's that long kind of vestment out front. The Benedictines have a black scapular in front of them. Some orders have white. The Carmelites have a brown. When Christians wanted to associate themselves with these religious orders, they would wear the scapular. They would join confraternities, they were called in the Middle Ages. Lay people joined to live a kind of religious life out in the world. And they would put on that yoke that yoke, to remind them to put on Christ, to have the mind of Christ, to be obedient, and obedience sets us free. Enjoy this feast day, and we'll see you tomorrow.